So in this question we are saying we have zinc reacting with sulfur to form zinc sulfide. Now zinc has been given 19 grams while sulfur has been given 4.5 grams. So we are saying question A is asking us to find the limiting reactant. Which one is the limiting reagent? Okay? Now a limiting reagent is actually a reactant, so it is between the two. It is a reactant that is present in short supply and therefore makes the reaction not to proceed further. So it is there in limited supply. So the limiting reagent in this case will be between the two guys here because it is a reactant. So how do we find the limiting reagent? So the first thing that we do is that we have to balance the equation. Let's see how we can balance this equation. How many atoms of zinc do we have? 1, this side 1. Sulfur 1, sulfur 1. So this is said to be a self-balanced equation. So to find the limiting reactant here, because the balancing figure here is 1, the balancing figure there is 1, then we are saying that the mole ratio is 1 to 1. Now whenever the mole ratio is 1 to 1, when calculating the limiting reactant, just find the number of moles of those reactants. The one with the smallest figure is the limiting reactant. So let us start with zinc. We are going to say that the number of moles equals mass over the molar mass or the relative atomic mass. So the number of moles will be equal to the mass of zinc given is 19. The relative atomic mass or the mass number, when you go to the periodic table, the number you find on top of zinc is 65. You find 65. So the number of moles of zinc are going to be equal to 19 divided by 65. You get 0.29 moles. So we are going to have 0.29. So we have 0.29 moles of zinc. Let's go to sulfur and do the same thing. So here for sulfur also we're going to say number of moles equals the mass over the molar mass. Alright, or the relative atomic mass. So the number of moles are going to be equal to the mass given for sulfur. We have 4.5. When you go to the periodic table, the relative atomic mass, the number you find on top of sulfur is 32. So the number of moles of sulfur are going to be equal to, so we say 4.5 divided by 32, we are getting 0.14. So we have 0.14 moles like that. So because the mole ratio is 1 to 1, we just look at which one is having the smallest value here. Definitely sulfur is having the smallest value. So in the exam you conclude by saying therefore sulfur is the limiting reactant or reagent. So sulfur is the limiting reagent because it is having the smallest number of moles there. So you only conclude like that if the mole ratio is 1 to 1. But then if the mole ratio was not 1 to 1, would have had to do something to prove that it is sulfur. Alright? In some cases, it can change. Yeah, so the LR, the limiting reactant, is sulfur, having 0.14 moles. 0.14. Now the next question is asking us to find the mass of zinc sulfide formed. The mass of zinc sulfide formed. How do we find the mass of zinc sulfide formed? So what you should know is that the limiting reactant or the limiting reagent determines how much of the product is going to be formed. So sulfur, because it is the limiting, it is going to determine how much of zinc sulfide is going to be formed. What are their mole ratios or their balancing figures? There's 1 here, so we say 1. Here we've got 1 as well. Now there are different methods that we can use to find the mass of zinc sulfide. The number of moles of sulfur, we had 0.14. moles. Then we say X this side. When we cross multiply, it means that the number of moles of zinc sulfide produced are also going to be 0.14 moles. But this is not the final answer. The question is asking us to find the mass. So because we have the number of moles of zinc sulfide, we are now going to say number of moles equals the mass over the molar mass. So the number of moles of zinc, we have 0.14 equals the mass that we are looking for over, what is the molar mass of zinc sulfide? So we do this, the staircase method. 32 times 1, we get 32. Zinc, the 65 times 1, we get 65. And then we add everything, we're going to have 97 there. So we have 97 as the molar mass, and then we cross multiply. So 1 times m, we get m. And so the mass of zinc sulfide formed is going to be equal to 13.6. So we have 13.6 grams of zinc sulfide formed. 13.6 grams. Let's say the last question was saying, let's say we had the last question saying 18. Question C. Let's say it was saying 10 grams of zinc sulfide was obtained at the end of the reaction. Calculate the percentage yield. Calculate the percentage yield. 10 grams of zinc sulfide was obtained at the end of the reaction. Calculate the percentage yield. What is the formula for percentage yield? So we say that the percentage yield is equal to the actual yield over the theoretical yield, times 100%. Now, because they've said 10 grams of zinc sulfide was obtained, it means that this is the actual yield. Okay? So what they've told us that was collected is the actual yield, is the actual amount that was there collected. Then what we're from calculating, the mass of zinc sulfide that we're from calculating, which is 13.6, that is the theoretical yield. So we are going to say that the actual yield, we're saying percentage yield will be equal to the actual yield is 10 grams. The theoretical yield, what was the mass of zinc sulfide that we calculated in the previous question? It is 13.6 times 100% following this formula here. So the percentage yield now, when we do the divisions, we are saying, as you can see here, the grams will cancel. So what is 10 divided by 13.6? We are getting 0.75, 0.74, sorry, multiplied by 100, and so the answer will be equal to 74%. Hope you've understood one or two things. Share the video, invite friends, mention friends that would find it beneficial. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, follow the page. See you in the next video.